This is where I am, not going with you. This is where I am. It's not the way it goes. This is where I am. It's not the way it should go.
Guys, welcome to the show. Today's edition of the podcast. What we're gonna be doing here. The topic is corruption. We all know about corruption. It's a common factor within the world we live in. And we know that corruption has done us bad much as it has done us good. So, what we're doing here, we're not trying to stop corruption, but we're trying to find a way in which we can debate how we can maneuver about corruption. Yeah, like I always say, we're in diaspora. We're concerned about the world in general, mostly Africa, and we want to debate about what corruption has done to our nations, not just Africa, also in Europe, for example, and how we can find a common ground in order to cure corruption or to control or reduce corruption. So that's exactly why we're here today. As you see, we have different people here from different nationality from Africa to Europe. From my right hand side, we have Hadi from Germany. And from the other side, we have Ike from Nigeria. We have Jean from Republic of Cameroon. And we have my brother here, Bismarck from Ghana. Guys, you are all welcome to the show. Yeah. On this edition today, like I said, we're gonna be discussing about corruption. So my first question is, what do you think about how corruption exactly has done to Africa, for example? When it comes to corruption, what do you think about Africa? What has corruption did to us?
That's a very common, it's kind of conspicuous.
Exactly.
Very conspicuous questions to have, because you, as an African, you're born into the petty corruption. I call the African corruption a petty corruption. You understand? And this petty corruption is very poisonous, very deadly, because it's small, easy, visible, but can eat up the fabric of any society. So when you talk about what corruption have done to Africa, it's vast, man.
It's vast.
It's vast, because every day to date, as we are talking, corruption is still dealing with Africa.
So you mean it's beyond measurable?
It's beyond. It's not what you measure. It's just corruption is the in thing in Africa. It's a way to survive. It's a way to live. If you want to breathe and live like human, you have to be corrupt. That's what they let the people know, and which is wrong.
Okay.
So I think corruption in Africa right now is enormous.
Okay, that's very correct. I go to you, Hadi. Hadi, do you think that corruption is a major factor? Corruption can delay any country's development. With your experience in Germany, around the world, in Africa as an example, how do you measure corruption when it comes to a country's development?
I would say that at least, I don't know if I would pick on any special country, but I think if you take corruption as something that is coming from the economics, I think a country is very well dependent on economics. So therefore, if the economics get damaged by corruption, it means that the country gets the damage of that. So, and as if you take it then to Germany, saying that Germany is a country that is very where economics and politics are kind of close knit, then of course, like if companies, for example, are corrupt, then that has a heavy influence in the politics as well, because they maybe have to sort it out, and then the people are aware of it, and they have to. In the end, they maybe have to take the toll. They have to pay for it, maybe. And then it gets political and goes beyond the plain factor of money or any kind of economic facts or the benefit of companies. And suddenly, it's a problem that it's brought into a society.
then it becomes a general problem of the people.
Right, right.
What do you have to commit to that basement?
What I would say is, first of all, um, greetings to your viewers. But what I would say is, with corruption, every man, as I always say, if you put a man in a place without measures and checkups, there's the tendency that the person will feel so comfortable. And if the person feels so comfortable, there's the chance that the person will try to do the things the way the person wants, without acknowledgement of the group interest, because the person will try to put his interest first, beside that of the group. And that is the case when it comes to corruption. The tendency for man to be greedy. And being greedy is more or less like not thinking as a whole, but thinking as an individual.
As a one person.
As a one person. Because the main thing is, how much are you going to eat? How much are you going to, even with your bed, the size of your bed, you're not going to sleep on the full mattress. You're going to sleep on just a small part of it. But man as man is, there's the tendency that man is going to think that tomorrow I might not be getting what I'm going to get. So let me reserve.
Let me put something aside.
Let me put something aside. So in the attempt of reserving, in the attempt of saving, in the attempt of trying to feel or to safeguard future,
okay,
it goes beyond the measure.
The measure.
And then comes in corruption.
That comes in corruption. Okay.
So that is what I would say for the start.
Ooh. Well, I think for the past couple of years, corruption, Africa has been ranked one of the one of the most corrupt countries in the world. I think if you check the top 10, you only find African names. So, but it doesn't really mean that we should give up the hope, that we cannot do much, or we cannot try to salvage our individual countries when it comes to corruption. I mean, when you see a state that is functioning, then you have to think of, okay, maybe these people are able to fight corruption. They are able to deal with it, or they are able to control it, because you can actually control. But I doubt the word kill when you is something that, I mean, in the Western society, it doesn't mean that there is no corruption. I think there is corruption, but on what scale? This is what I mean. When you try to measure the Western society when it comes to corruption and the African society when it comes to corruption, you see that it is unimaginable that you think that there is no solution. So, well, I doubt myself either sometimes when I think that when I view the level of corruption in Africa, and I view the level of corruption in the Western society, I think that we're not. It seems like, I would say, we don't even know sometimes what to believe in, or we don't even know what we're doing sometimes, because you see some African countries where some people they worship people who are corrupt. I would not like to go into the election part, or when there is kind of a new elections going on in Africa, then you see some kind of a corrupt politicians, like you mentioned. If it is the level of corruption in the politics, then it becomes a really well, I wouldn't say time bomb, but it's a really disturbing factors. That's what I would say. Yeah, but and like I said before, our nation has become the capital of corruption. So, Jane, what do you think?
Thank you so much for asking that question. First of all, I just want to agree with all what my friends are saying. You know, the corruption, in my view, is like a disease. It's like a disease. When I talk about like the place where I was born, I could notice that people integrate or put corruption in their education. It's like it's something normal. It's like a normal habit to go to I don't know, not to do things like in the roles,
Yeah.
but to go behind this.
Behind the rows.
Yeah, do you understand? It is
Yeah.
normal. When you say somebody in my country, it's not okay what you're doing. You say everybody is doing that.
Everybody is doing that.
Why should I stop? It is normal, you know. And the problem is, this kind of behavior is to find everywhere. Everywhere you go, everywhere that means if you can be a normal, a good educated person,
Yeah, you can be educated.
but you will not come out with that in Cameroon, for example.
Oh,
You will change.
You mean even though when you are educated or when you attempt to fight
Yeah.
the corrupt system.
They will kill you.
Oh,
I mean, so they will not kill you like no, you know what I mean. So
Maybe they're
will
trying to
not
put you
let
down.
you come to your goal.
okay,
You will not get it.
you face a lot of constraint.
Yeah.
Oh,
For example, I have a good friend. He was living here in Germany for 10 years. Then, after having finished his study, he went back to Cameroon. He just wanted to start a business, but he could not. He could not. Because when you come there, you have to give money to different people to support you. Also, there are some infrastructure to help you to put up your business. But without giving money, without grabbing people, you will never get it. Never. Because when you have money in Cameroon, you can control everything. The justice, the police, the court. You can control everything. But it is not official.
it is not official. But how come you can still do everything? How come you can still do everything and you get away with it, and yet it's still not official?
It's not official because when you say that in Cameroon, the people who are doing that will never accept that they do that. But they will accost you behind and say, hey, my friend, don't do that in front of everybody. Let's talk about it behind. You're here.
Okay.
You know, I know that. So I never do that. But I know people who just told me it happens in Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. So,
Okay.
I think there is this perception that we have as to corruption being among only the elite. Is far from being true.
You talk now. You're bringing it to the society.
Yeah, it's far from being true in the sense that corruption, even as the word, as corrupt, they say power corrupts.
Power
So
corruption.
those who are in the higher authority, there's always the chance that they might be perceived to be corrupt. But it always starts from the root.
You have to talk about
It
the normal
starts from the
society.
root. It starts from, one might think that a bribe of 1 billion euros to a senate is corruption. It's true, but the point is, €1 or 1 penny to also your daughter, not in a right way, is also a corruption.
Try to
Yeah.
get money to your daughter
it's
to do something for
it's
you.
also corruption. So it all comes to understanding that your part of the cake you'll be given. And the cake, as it's being shared, it will be shared accordingly.
Okay.
I'm sorry, let me.
Because, for instance, before I land, for instance, if you check, there is in governance, we have backroom deals, right? We have backroom deals.
It exists everywhere.
It exists everywhere. Corruption is cancerous. I know. You cannot say you are curing it. You only have to mitigate it with all sort of bringing in new laws, because laws are made to be broken.
Yeah, people do break laws.
Laws are made to be broken. And when it's broken, that is why when we set the law, we set those who keep the law, who enforce the law. So
Yeah.
in as much as one might think that corruption is such a big thing that is destroying Africa, sometimes it also comes to the moral character of those at the base.
I want to get your view right now that are you know actually blaming the common citizen over, you're giving much blame to the citizen over the system. That was the the elites.
What I don't think he has
no,
much
Then you-
blame. I don't
that's an
think he.
interesting question.
I don't
No,
think he
no,
has
no,
blamed
no,
much
no,
about
probably,
the.
if I'm to explain what I'm saying is this, that for one to get up there, is those at the down
I did down.
who puts him up there. Who puts him up there? That is why it's not about chieftaincy. It's about political powers. And when we talk of corruption, in our mind, subconsciously, we all are thinking about politicians.
That's number one thing that gets to us.
And it's not
I
like
don't
that.
really agree.
Okay, you don't agree.
It's not,
No, not only because I think it's a bit tricky because on the one hand we're talking about single persons who are doing things to their own benefit, which is all right.
Okay.
First of all, it's all right if you're
That's
trying
fine.
to move up anyhow, and if you take the advantages that you get, okay, fair enough. I mean, that's how it goes. And if in the end you figure out, okay, that was not okay, that was corruption maybe, then the question is, okay, who has been watching that now, and what can we do now? How can we improve, for example?
How can we improve
I mean, if there's like a hole in the system, you can slip through it, and the system needs to be improved.
Good.
And not only the person has to be punished. I mean, you're not helping anybody. You know? They will just find another way around. So the one point is, I think, like, are we talking about single persons? Are we talking about bigger groups? That's where you started from, right? Talking about the single bed that you have and seeing things from your own small perspective. But I think it gets really interesting when it comes to a broader,
A wider.
when
When it goes to the general public.
because then it also gets more tricky
Yes.
to catch up with their people and make sure, like, don't do it.
Don't do
Stop
it.
it. You know, you cannot do it. Because then this and that problems are coming up, which is not necessarily harming you now, but it's gonna happen. So you see, so it's like that's the first scale, I think. And
That's the
then
first scale.
if the other thing is, are we talking about politics? And that's why I said I don't really agree that it's mainly a political thing. I think it's also very important that there's companies who are corrupt.
Yeah.
And like I'm saying, I think that the influence of economics, and I don't know if we touched the topic of this.
Continue.
But if we talk about economics and they are harming a social structure, for example, to pick on one of the topics you had before, then this is probably out of reach for politics. And if it's not out of reach, it's different for them to deal with a company than to deal with their own people. Right?
Yeah, that's the
company
two.
can just leave the country
That's
and make the money anywhere else, where it's still the people are working, for example, in that country for that company that is not in place. You see, so it's like two levels.
Yeah,
The
it's
one
like
thing
two
is
levels.
Scale up, I think, from a single person to a bigger group, and the other thing is like a shifting from who is taking the responsibility now, and how can you make sure that the responsibilities of these parties are really applied.
Okay. If can I come in response to what?
Okay, you can come in. You can come in. Come.
But what I want to say is that when anyone sets a company, the main intention of the company is to make profit, minimize cost.
Minimize
For
cost.
every
Yes.
person it is.
For
For every person it is.
To minimize cost, and when you are to minimize cost, some laws are there. For instance, if you check my country, most of the times I prefer using my country because I know more about my country than other countries. So, for instance, in my country, if you're to come in and you're an investor, there is a tax reduction for you
Yeah.
because you're going to set up a company.
And
They-
to invest.
And
Yes.
that company is gonna employ people.
Good, because they look at the long-term benefit,
Not
which
the
is
short
that
way.
you are going to employ people, is you are going to improve the economy because you are bringing money into the system. So in one way or the other, they give you a tax incentive.
Okay.
But to the ordinary person, this very tax incentive law that has been passed, giving chance for people to come in and invest, it also gave way for people to also have a way to corrupt the system. In the sense that the one who is coming in, there were some things that are given to him as tax-free things.
Yeah. That's a tax free.
The
I
tax-
think this system also exists more or less in a Western world country. Like in Germany, if you're setting up a company or you're setting up a small scale company
Facebook
or
is the
enterprise,
perfect example
yeah,
for that.
yeah. So you're given like 1 year tax break in order for you to grow. So it also exists in Germany. So like you said, I think in part of Africa, some part probably everywhere it exists too. Yeah.
in my country, for instance,
Everywhere in Africa. See,
in my
this
country, in my country, for
Okay.
instance, this year there is a law, or should I say, a proposal that was taken to the parliament, where someone is coming to build a hotel,
Okay.
and they are saying they are giving the person tax incentives, in the attempt that when the person build a hotel, tourism, and a whole lot of things. It's a good idea, all right, but they always say that the devil lies in the details. When you go down into the details
of
there
the
that you
proposals.
see that there were some nitty-gritty things that are giving chance for people to have their way out.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's the.
But it's the law, and you can't say that it's not the law.
That's still what we are talking about. Corruption in Africa and corruption in Europe is different.
They're the same.
Okay.
Understand? It's different. I'll tell you why they are different. Corruption in Africa is vivid, very clear and open,
How?
and general, and it affects all sectors. You understand?
Okay.
But corruption in Europe, as you say, the closed door things, is always a closed door deal, and everybody goes home quiet.
Okay. That means it's not corruption.
You understand? It's still corruption, but the system accept it because they found out that it cannot bring much damage
To the economy.
to the economy.
Or the
It's just
people.
maybe a few temporal effects.
Temporal
Just
effect.
few people will feel it and it will go off.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so because you've been in the system. You said now, okay, same in Ghana now. Like in Ghana, an investor came in and said you want to invest, and the Ghanaian government say, okay, we'll give you a
tax
reduction.
incentive, tax
They're
break,
giving you a tax reduction. They're not giving you a limited time or year for the reduction to expire.
But I think there is something like that. Maybe he's not giving you the clear details and everything, but in every country where you're having a tax reduction, there is a limit for this tax reduction,
I don't
which
know, but
I
he didn't
which
give
I
it-
po- which I
he
mainly
didn't-
know.
He didn't give that, but
Yeah, but he wouldn't give that. But you should expect that.
A tax reduction itself is no bad thing.
It's not a bad
It's
thing.
not
It's not a bad thing.
as
It's
if
not a bad
it's not as
thing.
if it's a bad thing.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. But the problem, I understand, he's trying to talk about the details of the agreements.
Yeah,
If
the loopholes.
if you try to cover up other loopholes
Yeah.
that will lead to money, public fund extortion,
Something like
bribery,
that.
corruption,
Yeah.
you know, a system that will secure the company, also secure the future of the employees.
I mean, the people of the
You
land.
understand?
Okay.
You understand? That's the problem of the African system. You understand? That's why we're talking about corruption, and sometimes I don't talk about corruption in Europe because you don't see it. There's corruption, but you don't see it majorly like Africa. You
You
understand?
can see it. It's on the papers.
It's on the face.
Those
And maybe he don't feel it.
Wait, sorry. Let me ask something. Those one on the paper, if you don't go to read the paper, or you don't choose to get those information, or your medias are being shut down to talk,
Yeah.
will you get it?
Well, then it's going to be hard. But hold on. I think as we are living in a world of internet today, it's, I mean, has never been that easy to get information wherever you are.
Okay. Let me.
Right?
get-
I mean, you don't
let-
need
let-
to have a printed
we're
paper
coming
or a
from- we're
TV.
coming from
You just
two
need a
different-
mobile.
We're coming from two different backgrounds.
That's
in,
true.
In
That
Africa,
is true.
I don't need to go to the radio station to get the information.
Okay.
Or wait for the news, the press or journalists that are even afraid of their life to get the information. I'll just walk in the street. Maybe I sit down with one or two friends. We are talking. The information will come to me that this thing is going on now, man, and this is the result. This is what it's going to cost. The information will come to me. You understand? Because it's too open. They see it as the system has
As a
made
part
it
of
to
the
be-
culture.
to
They see it
be
as a
like
culture
this.
or what?
It's not a way to survive.
You know,
You have no choice.
I would
Yeah.
say that
Okay.
the main thing. Let's situate the very topic.
Okay.
Let's situate the topic. The topic is about the corruption and its impact,
And its impact. Yeah.
right? And if you're to look at the topic without digressing and looking at the exact impact of corruption on Africa, then it all comes to the gap or the wide gap between the elite, or should I say those in the upper section and those at the bottom. And if you ask anyone at the bottom why he is not feeling these big monies that they are passing in parliament, the loans, the grants that are coming, the taxes that they are paying to the government, why are they not feeling its impact in their life? The only answer they will give to you is that there is no accountability and there is no proper use or judicious use of the funds that they are giving to the government. But when you come to Europe, you can see that in Europe, one will be tempted to believe that there is proper judicious use of the taxes that are being paid. So when the person is paying, that pain is not there. In the sense that you see that you have a good road, you have water that is flowing, at least the basic underlying needs of every human being, you will have it here. So it means that one way or the other, when one is here, or when there is a switch or someone move from Africa and come here, there's always the temptation that you might think that here there is nothing like corruption. But there is still corruption here. I don't want to mention names, but what I can say is that when it comes to corruption, back home in Africa, the basic needs that we ought to have because we are paying tax, the basic needs that we ought to have because when you watch the news, you see the president making promises, the president saying they've gotten this loan, they've gotten this revenue, all sort of things. At the end, you're not having water
big money
in your household. The electricity is going off and on. Your road is not tarred. So it all brings your mindset to where is the money passing. And when you lift up your eye, you will see the one who is in power having everything. You see the one who is in power being in a good car, the daughters are in good schools. You will see that even they have beyond what they need. So it then brings in the corruption. It then brings in that greed. It then brings in that there is no accountability. But here, if I'm to tell you, there are companies who have elite, who have men who are sitting in the room looking at the law, finding loopholes, how to make money. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. No, it's happening. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You sit there, you look at, it's not that you're breaking the law. You're not breaking any law. But you are making them know that the law needs an amendment. And that is the way it goes. It's life. But we ought to make people in Africa understand that it's all about accountability. It's all about trying to bridge the gap between those who are in authority and those who are the subsidiaries,
the stakeholders, and the stakeholders. Okay, can you come in a little bit? You have something to say?
Yeah, I just want to add something about this topic concerning the corruption.
Yeah.
So my opinion about the corruption is that the corruption is, in my personal view, a consequence of something.
Okay.
We can try to fight against the corruption, but it's like you try to fight against the symptom of a disease without killing the virus.
So we need to cure corruption. So we need to cure corruption. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. It's
okay.
Like you. I don't know if you understand the logic of what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, my brother.
You're in a country, for example, people hate each other.
Okay.
Because of some tribes problems. I am from the north of Cameroon. I am Chan, and you are from the coast.
Okay.
And the people who are living on the coast are called Douala. Okay. And when they hate Bamilekis like I, and Bamilekis hate them, how can we come?
Then it provokes corruption.
It provokes
corruption on the political level.
Yeah, that is the first point. The second point is, for example, politically.
Okay.
The same president is on power since 38 years.
Okay.
Excuse me, he didn't do anything for that country. He didn't do anything. Therefore, the single people who try to lift the country, they don't get it because every people who are working for the benefit of that president prevent them to do what they are doing.
That is political.
To lift the way the people are living in the country because they know that they cannot trust the system in place, for example. And for the people who are really the casualty of all those things,
Yeah.
try to find a way to come out. I cannot condemn them
Okay.
of resorting to the corruption to improve their life. I just think that the corruption could be a certain way to have a better life because they have no choice